Hey there, it's day 7 of our 10-day challenge. So welcome back to another day of Ruth and Casey.
We always go, what should we talk about to start with today? And we never know. And so then we jump on and we're like, what are we talking about?
Here we go. But today is about confidence and common sense.
Yeah. And you know what? The reason it's about common sense is because, should we tell them why?
Sure.
It's because we so often get asked questions or have comments or, people say things to us and we go, like, people lack common sense on a weight loss journey. Yeah. Ultimately, that's what it comes down to. And the example, this hasn't happened recently, but one of the examples that we often get is like, people say, well, I can't eat a banana, right?
And you kind of want to go, why, are you allergic to it?
Yeah, like...
Because if you're allergic, no, don't eat the banana.
Totally, use some common sense, right? But, we always get people who are, not always, we have people sometimes who come to us who are like diabetic or pre-diabetic.
Or they've been on lots of diets.
Yes. And
that's the main thing.
They're like, I could never eat half of a banana.
Bananas have way too much sugar. I'm a diabetic and I'm not allowed to eat a banana.
And then they go gorge on 3 chocolate bars.
Or the chocolate bar is their go-to when they're getting low.
Yeah.
And some people have told us, well, my doctor said I shouldn't eat a banana. And we're here to say, we're not going against what your doctor said. If your sugars are really high, if you are a diabetic and your doctor said don't eat bananas, he probably means don't eat a lot of sugar.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure if you said, what is better, a chocolate bar or a banana, the doctor should say a banana.
We'd hope so. Otherwise, you might want to get a second opinion.
But that's not if you're going really, really low and you need some fast sugar right now. We totally are not talking about that kind of diabetic.
Right. And like the problem is though, and we've said this to so many women over the years, is like...
And our printer is just doing some cleaning.
Yeah, so hopefully that'll be done soon. But the problem is that we get all these comments from people who like won't eat half of a banana, but on the daily they're consuming like 125 grams of sugar with other junk that's processed junk, that's like man-made sugar, that's chemicals.
That's 100 on the glycemic index.
Rather than eating half of a banana.
That has fiber and minerals and potassium and so many things that our body actually craves.
Yeah, and so like there's zero common sense in that scenario.
Yeah, like if you think about that, a chocolate bar and a banana, and if you have to say, what is the better option? Well, we're here to say it's time to get the common sense flowing because there is only one right answer.
Yeah, but you know what? Saying all that, hello Miranda, glad you're here. Saying all that, I think what happens is we get so overwhelmed with information on a weight loss journey that we don't know how to have common sense anymore, right?
And I've been there.
Right, and so have I. But we've got to get back to like using our brains to think about common sense answers to the questions that we have on our weight loss journey.
And I just have to pipe in here and say, I used to not eat bananas because I was told bananas had way too many carbs. If I wanted to lose weight, I should not be eating bananas. Right. Now, that whole myth has been there for a long time. In fact, it was really big in the 80s and in the 90s. But so I'm coming, and we're talking about this because I have experienced it myself. And I used to tell people not to eat bananas. And now I say, eat a banana, it's okay.
Yeah.
God made bananas. And you know what? It's one of the cleanest foods you can have. It has all these good, healthy things in it. Should we stuff ourselves with bananas? No, we shouldn't. We have to consume them in moderation because they do have sugar, but they have other things in them that our body needs. And so when we think about diets, all the fad diets, which I was a part of, and they say don't eat banana, they are not talking about and using the guidelines that scripture gives us, because a banana is a God-given fruit. And like you can think about things that are like the peel is thick, so the pesticides don't even enter the fruit the same way as they do an apple.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what, again, we have to apply common sense because each one of us is different. Our bodies are all different. And like, so we'll continue on the banana train, right? I think bananas are amazing. I love bananas. I don't eat very many bananas because they're not very good for me. They bother my stomach. And so, like, apply common sense, right? So I know bananas are a great food. We how can you promote a banana? But we have lots of bananas on in our plan.
Yeah.
But I stay away from bananas because they are not very good for me. If I eat a banana, I won't even tell you, I get all bunged up. So they're not good for me, right?
That doesn't mean she's allergic, but she is aware of how it affects her body.
Yeah.
Now, if you are aware of how certain foods affect your body, and say you're doing the 10-day WeighDown Plan, and you know that, let's just say, brown rice affects your body, and maybe you're struggling with inflammation or IBS or Crohn's or whatever, you have maybe you just have or you have indigestion a lot. Well, maybe brown rice is not the best option for you. But until you've actually tried it, you probably don't know. If you've tried it and it upsets your tummy, well, maybe it's not the best option. And that would be using your common sense. It doesn't mean it's a bad food. It means that you're aware of your body. And maybe you want to replace it with quinoa. Maybe quinoa is easier for your body to digest. And quinoa is also a very good food.
Because sometimes from our end, it's challenging to decipher between people who use things like that, saying, oh, I could never eat a banana. It's challenging for us sometimes on this end, being the coaches, to decipher, like, is this an excuse because you don't want to do it? Or is this a legitimate concern? Right?
Big difference.
There's a big difference, because we also get comments quite often about, like, IBS or not being able to eat vegetables, things like that. And we know that those are incredibly legitimate things, right?
That's right, because we have people in our family who have Crohn's disease, and some have moderate and some have severe Crohn's disease. So do they have to be careful?
Oh,
yes, they have to be very careful.
And we would never tell them to go eat something that they know sets their body off in the wrong direction, right? No. We would never tell them to go against what their doctor says. However, just to give a flat out statement for the people in our family to say that they could never eat a vegetable is, I'm going to say, it's asinine, because they can eat vegetables. They can't eat certain vegetables, but, like, is it an excuse to not eat healthy? Is it an excuse to keep continuing on in your old ways and in your old behaviors? Or is it a legitimate concern? And, that's something that you have to ask yourself that.
Yeah. That's right. It's something that you have to figure out. And that's why we talk so much about becoming aware of how your body feels. We talk about that a lot. Think about how your body feels as you sit down to eat. Like, are you hungry? Does your tummy feel good? Have you felt good all day? Like, these are just things to ask yourself. Look at the food. Do you go, oh, I can't wait to eat that. That looks delicious. When you're finished eating, do you say, I feel really good right now. My stomach feels, content. It's not hurting. I don't feel bloated. Like, these are all things to ask yourself, to become aware, so that you can make really healthy choices for your body.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, again, that's where, like, that awareness piece and applying common sense, like, we have to get back to the basics, and we have to get back to common sense, because your body's different than mine. It's different than Ruth's. We're all different. We know the things that don't feel good in our bodies, and we know the things that do feel good. So how can we make the best decisions moving forward given those parameters?
Exactly.
So,
in fact, my son, he has recognized over the last year or two that he feels really upset when he has dairy.
His stomach does.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
Yeah,
he loves dairy. Yeah. That's the trouble.
Yeah. But he's had to switch to, alternate sources of protein, of milk, non-dairy milk, because it really affects his tummy. And so it's just so important to become aware, so that if you're using our recipes and it says chia seeds and you have IBS and chia seeds aren't good for your body, just eliminate the chia seeds. They don't have to go in there. It's optional.
Yeah.
Replace it with something else. Make some substitutions. If you're allergic to pineapple, you can use an apple. or, you know, there's lots
or
of,
just leave it out
yeah,
altogether,
that's
or
right. Add
like
a little more liquid.
yeah, exactly. You know, I think that's the thing. Like our plan is amazing, but like you can modify it.
That's right.
Right? If we say use cashew milk and you'd rather use dairy milk.
Yeah.
Right? We have certain things in there for specific reasons because they might have lower sugar content or they're lower on the glycemic index. But you have to do what's going to work for you. You know, we are not doctors or like medical professionals. We don't claim to be.
But we have had doctors approve our plan. In fact, in the United States, we have had a doctor from the Cleveland Clinic approve the 10-day WeighDown Plan and actually told one of the women that was working with us to stay on the plan.
Yeah. And she had a lot of health concerns.
Yeah, a lot. And she was on different meds.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, we have had doctors write notes for women, and the women have actually emailed the doctor's notes to us saying, yes, I approve the plan.
Yeah. And I think we've had 2 nutritionists and 2 dietitians also that have approved our plan. And so we know health-wise that it's an amazing plan. But again,
right.
You have to modify certain things for yourself. If you have to, then do that, right?
That's right.
And so I think that's really what we wanted to talk about with common sense. Is like, you got to look at what you're doing and ask yourself how it's working out, right?
Because so if you're here right now, hi Miranda, anyone else who's watching, if you're here right now, how is your plan going for you?
Yeah.
What is working for you? And if something's not working, what's not working for you? And how are you making substitutions? Are you modifying the plan to suit your needs?
Yeah. But like what I was going to say, you have to look at what you're doing and ask yourself if it's working or if it's not working. And apply common sense.
Yeah.
So if you're not eating bananas because you think they have too much sugar, but you're drinking 3 Starbucks coffees that are like crazy laden with sugar every day, then that's not very much common sense applied, right? You're making choices that don't add up or make sense.
Or they don't align with your goal.
Right. Or, you know, if you have IBS or something like that, and you're saying, well, everything healthy makes me feel this or that or the other thing, but then you're just using that as an excuse to continue treating your body like a trash can, apply some common sense. How can we use the circumstances that we're in, the parameters that we have to work within to make the best decisions that we can to move forward?
Very well said. So if you're new here, welcome to
our rant. The day 7 Casey and Ruth rant of common sense.
We usually have a rant every day, so now we're done. And now we can move forward.
With confidence, because that's what else we're going to talk about.
Hi, Terry. Glad you're here.
Dear, yeah. Hope we didn't...
We're not meaning to offend. We just want to clarify that we know there's modifications made. It's okay to do that. And it's really important to know your body. Become aware of how you feel on the plan.
Well, and to use
or whatever
common sense
plan you're
and
using. Yeah.
Think about what you're doing.
Yeah, because honestly, if we go back to this, if a doctor tells you not to eat a banana, make sure you're asking him why not.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe your body's not supposed to have too much potassium. Well, that could be a reason.
Exactly, yeah. Like there might be a very good reason, right?
But don't just say bananas are bad.
Yeah.
Because that's not the truth.
Well, and also, like, if the doctor doesn't look at anything else that you're eating and only says don't eat a banana, well, let's do a little bit more investigation here, right? Yeah.
Okay. I think that's perfect. We could say good night. So it's day 7. Are you determined? Are you determined to keep going? I really hope you are.
Yeah.
So let us know if you're determined, because we're determined to finish this challenge. And today we want to talk about confidence. And we truly hope that by day 7, you have gained confidence in who you are, even as a woman, as a believer, as a woman of faith.
You know what I want to say about confidence?
What?
Sometimes after we get off of our rants and we feel like we're a little bit pointed with what we say, we struggle to have confidence moving forward because we don't want to offend you, right? It's hard for us sometimes to come on and say the hard things, but if we want to be good coaches, we have to say the hard things.
That's right. So that was your hard for today from us.
Yeah.
You can give us some hard feedback.
Totally, yeah. But not too hard, please. I'm kidding.
Okay, confidence. Let's start with the verse.
If you're here watching, let us know. We know Miranda's here, we know Terry's here, but if you're also here watching, please let us know, because
I think we should say, if you don't know how to chat, you just need to Google, how do I chat on YouTube?
I think you should say comment, maybe.
How to comment, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you have to have created an account in YouTube or on YouTube, just like you would on Facebook. They're going to need your email, and you'll have to create a password for yourself, just like you have an account on Facebook. And that will allow you to comment in the chat. And so it's fun if you comment. It just makes it more engaging because we can actually see your comments and talk directly to you.
Yeah, Miranda says, I will not lie, today was a bit challenging for me, but I am confident I can do it.
Yay, because
Nice.
you can.
And you are.
You are, yeah. You can do all things through Christ, and you are doing it, yeah. Do you want to tell us what your challenges were today? Because it's okay to share if you're okay to share.
Yeah.
We'd like to know what your challenges are.
Terry, how's your challenge going?
Yeah.
And if you're here watching, let us know too.
Okay, so I'm just...
You were looking for the verse, right?
Yeah.
We've got a passage today from Isaiah 41, verse 10.
Go ahead.
It says, so do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. And so we just thought today, as we talk about confidence and common sense, he will strengthen us and he will help us. We have to surrender the journey, but then we don't have to fear. He is with us, right? He will strengthen us. He will help us through it. He will help to give us confidence as we step out in faith.
That's right. So the first part of the verse says, do not fear. So if we're talking about confidence, right away, fear might be creeping up and go, oh, I'm too scared to do that. Like, I'd be way too nervous to stand up in front of someone and talk, or I'm too nervous to go and share the gospel with them, or I'm too nervous, or I'm too fearful about this or that. Maybe in your weight loss journey, you're too fearful to talk about it with your spouse or a friend. You know, sometimes being vulnerable actually makes a relationship stronger. And we know that if you are able to share with a friend or your spouse, that it's helpful, because then they can come alongside you and actually help you on your journey as well.
Yeah, exactly. I think one of the things with confidence that we've often talked about in the past, and I think it's really helpful to think of confidence this way, is like, confidence is something that we build, right? We can step out of our comfort zone and build confidence that way. But the more we practice confidence, the more confident we become.
Absolutely.
And so I think that's really encouraging, because like all we have to do is take the first step, and then we're starting to build on it, and we're starting to build on it. And like, you know, I don't know if you've been in a situation where you're not feeling confident about something, but you have to go do it anyway. And you just, you know, like there's no option, right? Like maybe it's a work thing and you've been assigned a project that you just have to do, and you're not confident, but you've got to get it done. And that's like, your job depends on it. And as you go through it, and as you have these small successes through it, and even if you have little setbacks, the more that you just keep working forward at it, your confidence begins to build and increase. And before you know it, you're doing more and more and bigger and bigger and bigger things, because confidence is a skill that we can build on.
Yeah. Or I even think about in your own church, or in a community that you're involved in, or whatever. But I'm thinking of church. Like, maybe you're a Sunday school teacher, or maybe you help in a club, or maybe you are on worship team, or maybe you're on the hospitality team, or whatever you are. But sometimes maybe you're going to have to go do an announcement on the stage. And, you know, the first time you do it, you're like, your mic is shaking in your hand and your knees are wobbling. But after you've done it, you go, oh, I did it. And then the next time it's a little bit easier, and a little bit easier, and a little bit easier. And pretty soon it's like, you just walk up there and do it.
Yeah.
You know, you don't really think about it anymore.
And we have some points here about like building confidence, but I just want to say, in regards especially to that example of like getting up on stage, it's like, sometimes asking yourself what the worst case scenario is can be so helpful, right? Like if you have to get up in front of your church and make an announcement or something like that, and you're struggling with confidence and you're all worried about it, like what's the worst thing that's going to happen? You forget what you're supposed to say and maybe everybody laughs at you. Like really, you might feel a little embarrassed, maybe a lot embarrassed, but at the end of the day, nobody's going to remember that by next Sunday.
No.
Right? And so
You might,
but nobody else will.
No.
And so like sometimes thinking about, or maybe you're going to fall down on the stairs on your way up or like, and flash like, I don't know, right? Like think about the worst case scenario.
That would be a bad
That
one.
would be a bad one. But we often say like, if you can live with the worst case scenario as the outcome, then you better take that step forward, right? If you absolutely could not, and that would like throw you so far down into the depths of despair, then that's too big of a step.
That's right. But I am here to tell you, because I have done a lot of speaking on stage and it does get easier, but you might still get the nervous tummy or the butterflies in your gut. And I'm here to say that that's actually a little bit of nerves that helps you do a good job. It's actually nervous energy that you sometimes need in order to come across really strong or well, or
have the energy
that you need to do it. And so it's not all bad. But facing your fears, one of our steps is to start with small steps. Like break down your fears, especially related to weight loss, into smaller, more manageable tasks. Like for example, if you're anxious about going to the gym because you don't like the way you look and you don't want everybody to look at you and all
that can actually require a lot of confidence to walk into a gym.
Yeah. And we're not saying you have to go to a gym.
No.
But this is just an example. If you're anxious about going to the gym, start by exercising at home. Like do those Leslie Sanzone videos, those walking videos, do something at home. There's so many programs online on YouTube that you can do for movement, or take a short walk around your neighborhood. Do something just to build your confidence, even in walking.
Exactly. Marinda says her challenge today, she woke up hungry and had the munchies. I made good choices. I had to remind myself I surrendered to God this morning.
Well done, Marinda.
Yeah, way to go. You know what? Some days are just harder.
Yeah, they are.
Some days we just feel more hungry. We have the munchies. Like some days are hard and some days you kind of just breeze through, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's related to how well you slept as well, because sometimes if you didn't sleep well, like it's a proven fact, it's scientific fact that you crave more carbs when you haven't slept well. And I think it's because the carbs give you the energy you need for the day, so your body's craving them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the fact, Marinda, that you surrendered it and you've done well, like that builds your confidence, right? Because it's one small success. And you go, like, we build belief in ourselves when we take action in small ways that we succeed at. And then we do it and we achieve it and we're like, oh, I can do this. And then we take the next step forward and we do it and we achieve it. And then we're like, I can really do this. And then it keeps building, right? And it gives us confidence as we move forward, as we continue towards our goals. Because when we have these small wins, like it really does something psychologically in our brains that helps us believe that it's possible and that we can do it.
Yeah.
Which gives us confidence.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Another thing about facing your fears, it's called gradual exposure, which is where you gradually expose yourself to a situation that can trigger those fears. So I'm going to say, maybe you are at work and you know there's donuts in the break room and you know that that's a real trigger for you. So maybe you're going to just avoid the break room. You're not going there. You're not going to see it. So you're avoiding temptation completely. And maybe with time, as you become more confident in living this lifestyle, maybe you can go into the coffee room to grab a coffee or a tea or a water or a visit with someone, and the donuts are there and they won't affect you over time. Like maybe you're not going to be there all the time, but maybe you can go in and out and it's not like obsessing over the donut anymore.
Or the gradual exposure thing, like think about the gym, right? You might not have the confidence to go to a gym right now, so start going for walks outside. Maybe eventually you're going to find a women's only gym.
That's right.
And start there, take that next step, and then keep going there for a while until you get more confident, until you become more comfortable, and then before you know it, you won't have that same level of fear about walking into whatever gym you want.
Or if you're not a walker and you're beginning to walk, that exposure therapy, do a couple of rounds by yourself. And pretty soon, maybe you're going to have the confidence in yourself to phone a friend and say, hey, do you want to go for a walk with me?
Mm-hmm.
After you've done it, you know you can do it. So it builds confidence. And maybe you're going to talk to them about what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing with facing your fears is to seek support, because the more people that we have around us who are like cheering us on, like the more likely we are to do it. But I think also the more like we have people at our backs, we know that will like catch us if we fall, right?
That's right. Yeah, that's really important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Another one is if you're really fearful about something, like you're fearful about going into the restaurant because you're worried about what you're going to order and you don't want to get off plan. Before you go into the restaurant, take some deep breaths. Do some deep belly breathing. Like take the stress down. It's just so helpful. It takes the angst out of it. And, we've said this before. All you have to do is breathe in 3 to 5 times and count to 4. And another way to do it is just to look at a window. Like go across, count, or just move your hand slowly while you're breathing in, and then hold it while you look down the window. And then exhale as you go across the window, and then again, hold it. It's just so calming if you can learn to deep breathe.
Mm-hmm. It really is.
It'll help you face your fear.
I think we must have scared everybody off with commenting today with our rant about common sense. We want to know if you're here. Let us know. We've only heard from 2 of you so far, from Marinda and Terry. So if you're here, don't be a looky-loo. I'm the worst for being a looky-loo, so I understand you.
So we're talking about gaining confidence, and especially in our weight loss journey.
I thought you were going to say talking about gaining weight. Nope, we don't want to talk about that.
And the reason we want to have confidence is because we believe that we want to be healthy so we can live out the purpose God has for us. And we have to have confidence in doing that,
mm-hmm.
so that we're not too fearful about doing what God is asking us to do.
Yeah. I think another really important thing when we talk about building confidence is learning to identify our strengths.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be a hard thing for us to do, to actually acknowledge something that we are good at, because we want to downplay it. Like we've talked lots about that too, right? We want to just downplay ourselves. Our inner critic comes out, our inner voice, and it's not very nice to us most of the time. But identifying your strengths, so whatever situation you're facing that you're struggling with confidence in, like identify the areas that you are good at and then build on that. Because like maybe, I don't know, what's a good example with that, of identifying strengths on a weight loss journey?
Well, I'm going to say Marinda. Marinda has a very good strength because she is a chef.
Yeah.
Wow. So, if you're a chef, you know how to make tasty food.
Oh, yeah.
And so I could say, oh boy, what are my recipes like? If I didn't have confidence in our plan, I'd go, oh boy, I wonder what Marinda thinks about our recipes, because, well, she's a chef and, she knows what to put together and like, but we have confidence in our plan. I'm not worried about saying our food is really delicious, it's tasty, and it's really good, and you can lose weight on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think like feedback loops are really important too. And we have had so much good feedback about our recipes over the years, that like feedback loops are really helpful for us in developing confidence too, because like both good and bad, right? Both, I'm going to say positive criticism, like critique, and what am I trying to say? Like negative and positive feedback helps us move forward with confidence, because like, we have had recipes that we've tested out and people are like, no, thank you. Right.
Yeah.
And so then we know, okay, that's not a winner. That's okay. That doesn't mean the rest of the recipes aren't good. Right. But that feedback has helped us move forward with confidence, knowing that what we are doing is working. It's working, so we can continue on.
Yeah, that's right. But like Marinda, you probably have developed so many recipes for yourself. And I'm sure that if you decide you want to make your own healthy recipe, like you're confident in that. that's a strength.
Totally.
Because you know what to put together.
Yeah, and so you can put together
Wow.
amazing, healthy, good meals, and that's a huge strength on
That's
a weight loss
real
journey.
win.
Yeah. So focusing on that rather than thinking of it like, oh, well, there's all this amazing food around me and I can't eat it. No, you have the skill to make amazing, good, healthy food taste good. And that's awesome. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Miranda. She said, yeah, your food's delicious. Thank you. Just so you know, all of our recipes had to go through a process because we have a team that is our business it's a team business. And we have 3 guys and Casey and I who have to approve the recipes before they were put into a recipe book. And, well, guys, my man really likes meat and potatoes. So lots of our recipes are not meat and potatoes, and he approved them.
Yeah. Are we both thinking about curried lentils? Because I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fail. Curried lentils one day that I made. So anyways.
But it's a really good recipe.
Haven't made it for a long time now. Okay.
So feedback is really important, but we have to identify our strengths. And sometimes it's having the confidence to ask a friend or a pastor or someone we know or someone who knows us to ask the question, like, can you tell me what some of my strengths are? Like, what do you see in me? And what do you think some of my gifts are or my talents if you don't know? And it takes a little bit of courage. You have to step out of your comfort zone in order to do that. But it can be very helpful.
Yeah. Practicing assertiveness is another thing about building confidence that we have on our list of like ways to build on your confidence. And I think that's a hard one for a lot of us, being assertive. Because as women, we've kind of been told that being assertive means that we're rude or not very feminine or this or that. And setting boundaries isn't something that, like that, I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with because setting boundaries is challenging. It's hard to set a boundary and hold to it because you know that it's going to upset someone and people are going to push back against it. But the more that we do it, the easier it becomes, right? Just like with all of it. I mean, you might have a situation where it's really not easy with a boundary or being assertive, but like the more that you practice it, the more able you are to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Another thing that we can do is use some I statements. No, I'm not talking about, being egotistical. I'm talking about helping yourself, expressing your thoughts and saying things like, I feel more confident when I stick to my healthy eating plan. Like that's a great statement when you go out for dinner and someone's trying to say, why don't you have a hamburger and fries with me? You can say, well, I feel more confident when I stick to my healthy plan. So I'm just going to have my salad with chicken. Like, what are they going to say to that?
Yeah. Or, I think that's one of the things that happens, especially with like practicing assertiveness on a weight loss journey, is that people sometimes don't want you to succeed on your weight loss journey, whether that's conscious or subconscious on their part. And so the more that we can find ways to set those boundaries, like, you don't have to say, no, I'm not going to eat that. I'm on a diet. No. You can say, you know what? I feel so much better when I eat this, or I don't feel well when I eat this, and therefore I'm going to order this today.
Yeah. And another thing you can say is, I need help. I need support. So can you help support me in my weight loss journey or in my healthy eating lifestyle? Those are other things that they can say. And I don't think your friend or your spouse, well, I'm hoping they're not going to say, no, I'm not going to help you with that. I'm hoping they're going to say, yeah, I can come and support you on that.
Yeah. But they might still say like, oh, but just this once, it's okay, right? People still do.
Yeah, they do.
Like that's, we haven't talked for a long time about food pushing, but there's a lot of that happens on a weight loss journey because I think people are afraid of being left behind, right? They see you making these changes that inherently they want to make too because they would like to lose some weight themselves. And so seeing you changing and they're staying the same is hard for them.
Yeah.
But that's on them. That's not on you.
But if you have the confidence to say some of those things like, well, I just feel so much better when I stick to my healthy eating plan, that builds on your confidence. And the next time it will be easier to say it. Maybe the first time it's going to be hard, but role play it. Like that's another thing to do is to role play some of those scenarios. I know that, I used to have to practice some of my speeches in the mirror. I had to watch my facial expression. I had to watch my body language. There's so many things that we can do, and role playing our own things that are going through can help us face those fears and to build confidence in ourselves.
But why don't you tell us in the comments, like, what area do you need? It can be anything, but specifically maybe on your weight loss journey, like what area do you need to grow in your confidence in? Is it with setting those boundaries? Is it with like setting boundaries for yourself, like not to somebody else, but confidence in going to the grocery store and not buying the junk food? Like, what is it that you need to work at confidence wise in your weight loss journey?
Yeah, maybe you don't have confidence in the way you look. Maybe you cower, or you're slouching, and your posture is just down. You just don't feel good about yourself, so you think you're not worth it. You're fat, you're ugly, you don't like how you are, and so your whole posture portrays that. Well, we have to build on our posture. We have to build the confidence in that. And honestly, role playing that in the mirror is really, really helpful. And so we want you to be able to go out with confidence, knowing that God loves you and that you are worth it.
Yeah. Terry says, exercise and saying no when I'm in certain social situations.
Yeah, social situations are really difficult sometimes.
Yeah, and sometimes the subtleties of it are like...
Yeah. Oh, you're too good to have dessert now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that type of a thing. That's really difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, and learning how to navigate that, like, every situation is different, right? And every relationship's different, and every event is different. And so you might figure out how to do it in one place, and then you go somewhere else and try the same thing and it backfires, right? So it's just constantly learning and growing through it, and trial and error, I think, with that type of thing for sure.
Yeah. And honestly, Terry, I think that maybe you need to role play some things like that in social settings. Like, if there's a particular setting that's really difficult, have that power statement for you, like whatever it's going to be. It can be an I statement, but one where you know that it's going to help you make it through. And also, like, with not having confidence and not having the posture to hold your head up high, or walk straight. Like, if you're walking into a party and you don't want to go in there slouching over and go, oh, I'm not good enough. Like, sometimes we need to have our power suit. Something where that when you put it on, you feel good in it. And sometimes it's worth spending the money on a really nice outfit that you feel really good in, so that you can walk into a room and feel good about yourself. So that you have the confidence knowing that you're okay. You're going to be okay here. Yeah. Yeah. So we need to keep learning and growing. We need to learn and grow all the time, whether it's in our confidence, whether it's in preparing our food, whether it's in learning new recipes, but whatever it is, we have to keep learning and growing. And when we do, we are building on our confidence level all the time.
Terry said, I need this tonight, as tomorrow and the next day I'm in a social situation. Yeah. Awesome. Well, good.
Yeah, good timing then.
And Miranda says, I need to work at going out for dinner and make better choices. For us, eating out is a treat, and often felt like if I go out, I want to treat myself and not eat healthy food. Yeah.
And it depends how often you go out too, Miranda. Like, like we're saying, one unhealthy meal doesn't make you unhealthy. Just like the other way around. One healthy meal doesn't make you healthy. It's what we do consistently over the long haul. And so if you go out very rarely, I'm going to say maybe that's going to be your 80-20 rule, you want to
plan for it.
Yeah, plan for it.
Because I'm going to say too, Miranda, like, my husband and I go out very seldomly too. Like, we maybe go out for dinner maybe 3 times in a year, like for a nice dinner. Like, we've got small kids, and it's just, right, it's just a hard time of life for us to go out, and it's expensive and all the things. And so when we do go out, I do have what I want, right? 3 times a year.
And you don't probably eat it all. Like,
no, I don't.
You portion control, because after you've done this healthy living, healthy lifestyle, you know that often they give you way more than what your portion should be.
Yeah. So like for me, one of my favorite things is a burger and fries. And so often when we do go out, I mean, that's not like a nice, crazy expensive dinner, but even that's expensive these days. But often I will order that and I have half the burger.
Often. You're saying, like, it sounds like you're having it all the time. Like you said, often when you go out.
Oh, no, like the 3 times a year when we do go out, I will have that. Yeah, so not very often.
No.
I mean, often when we do go out, very seldomly.
Yeah.
Like 2 out of the 3 times in the year, I will probably have a burger and fries.
Because that's something you really enjoy.
Yeah, and I cut the burger in half and have some of the fries, right? So, yeah. And then I enjoy every bite of it.
Yeah.
And I don't feel guilty about it.
Right, because when you go out twice a year and you haven't had a burger and fries, well, maybe that's what is your treat. And it's not a treat in the way that it's treating your body well, but sometimes it's okay to go off plan.
Yeah.
And we always say when you're on a weight loss plan, it's the 80, or it's the, like we say, when you're on maintenance, it's the 80-20 rule. When you're on a plan to lose weight, it's not often the 80-20 rule. It's more like the 90-10 rule or the 95-5 rule. Because I'm going to say, if you go eat out a lot, 4 times of eating junk
in a week, you're talking about?
Yeah, 4 times in a week.
Which is 80%.
Yeah.
Or sorry, that's the 20%.
Yeah, if you eat junk 4 times a week, that might prevent you from losing any weight.
Yeah.
That might just be enough to prevent you from losing. And so when you're on a weight loss plan, you want to maybe do the 90-10 rule.
Yeah, exactly. Terry said, I made beef and potato stew and bringing it with me. Awesome.
Oh, way to go, Terry.
I need to make that one again. I haven't made that forever.
That's a good one.
It is. Yeah. Anyways, I think that was really our points on how to build confidence. Face your fears, identify your strengths, practice assertiveness, and continue to learn and grow. And you got to just do it.
That's the bottom line. You got to just do it. And enjoy the journey. Because if we're not enjoying the journey, it's a long haul.
Yeah, and we might not enjoy every moment, but we got to find enjoyment in it.
That's right. So I'm going to read that verse again. So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. We don't have to worry. We don't have to fear. We are going to be held up. God is going to give us the strength. We can do this weight loss journey. It is possible to lose the weight. You are a beautiful woman. All these things, like we have to just keep our minds focused on the good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So any questions from you? Anything that's going on before we sign off? We had our rant. If you're new here and you're still watching, please give us a like, give us a thumbs up, comment because it helps the YouTube algorithm.
Subscribe to the channel.
Share with a friend. It really helps us, and we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for doing that. We want to thank you for all your comments. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening, because we know that the 10-day challenge can be a struggle, but you're on day 7. You're doing it. So we know you're determined. So keep on keeping on, because we have confidence that you are going to do it well to the finish line.
Yeah, exactly. Because you've made it this far. Like, I always butcher this saying, but it's something like if you look back and see how far you've come, like you're exactly where you wanted to be before you started. So don't quit now.
Yeah.
Right? People say, well, I've only lost 10 pounds. I might as well quit. But before you lost the 10 pounds, you would have given anything to have lost that 10 pounds. So then we quit and it's like, what are we doing? Right? Yeah. We're going backwards. And we want to go forwards. And so we've got to move forward one small step at a time, and we can do this.
You got this. So I don't see any questions here.
Thank you, Miranda. Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Thanks for commenting.
Yeah. Make sure you're accountable somehow, whatever it is. And what are our 4 steps?
Surrender the journey, be accountable by writing it down, drink your water, and move your body.
So if you're doing those, you are succeeding. And we know you are. So we love you. Remember this, treat your body like a temple.
Not a trash can.
See you tomorrow.